This is the true story of Robyn Davidson's life, her courage, and her journey. In the year 1975, Robyn is shown arriving in a small Australian town called Alice Springs with her dog. She left her home to pursue a goal, to cross the Australian desert, which stretches 2,700 kilometers and ends at the Indian Ocean. This journey won't be easy, her life could be at risk. To survive and carry her supplies, she needs 3 camels. However, she has no money. Despite writing several letters for help, no one responds. As a result, she takes on small jobs in town and finds a room to stay in. Yet her only goal remains to cross the 2,700 kilometers desert, no matter what. But whoever hears about her plan doesn't believe her, as crossing such a long desert trek is considered life-threatening. No one has ever done it before. Determined, Robyn visits a camel farm owned by a man named Kurt. She tells Kurt about her journey and asks for 3 camels to start her expedition. Kurt refuses, saying it's impossible. Robyn explains that in 1935, her father crossed the Kalahari Desert in Africa, and now she wants to conquer this desert. Impressed, but cautious, Kurt agrees, but sets a condition: Robyn must work on his farm without pay for several months to earn the camels and gain proper knowledge of them. Robyn agrees, and they make a verbal agreement. Kurt insists that he never breaks his word, and Robyn trusts him. She quits her job and moves to Kurt's farm. Despite Kurt's wife offering her a room in their house, Robyn chooses to set up her tent outside to experience living outdoors. Kurt advises her not to wear shoes or sandals to toughen her feet, which will help during her journey. Robyn follows his advice and works tirelessly on the farm. Kurt pushes her to work hard, and she dedicates herself fully to caring for the camels, gaining valuable knowledge about them. After 8 months, she approaches Kurt and says, "I've kept my promise. I've worked here for 8 months. Robyn says, "I've worked on the farm as promised. Now you must give me 3 camels. Kurt replies, "I never made such a promise. Get off my farm," and forces Robyn to leave. Robyn is devastated and frustrated. She had believed her journey was about to begin, but without money, her plans were once again halted. With no place to stay, she finds an abandoned house and decides to live there. Nearby, she discovers another camel farm. Robyn visits the owner, explains what Kurt did, and requests 3 camels to begin her journey. The elderly man warns her that the journey is dangerous, but Robyn insists she'll complete it at any cost. The man agrees to give her 1 camel in exchange for working on his farm for a month. Robyn accepts and starts working. One day, some friends visit Robyn. Seeing her struggles, they urge her to abandon her plan, but Robyn is determined to pursue her dream. Among her friends is a photographer who suggests she seek sponsorship from National Geographic for funding. He reveals that he's a photographer for the channel himself. The next day, her friends leave. After a month of hard work, the elderly man keeps his promise and gives Robyn a female camel. However, she still needs 2 more camels. Soon, Robyn learns that the female camel is pregnant, meaning she must wait for the calf's birth and also find 2 more camels. Determined, she returns to Kurt's farm to request the remaining camels. Upon arrival, she discovers that Kurt sold his farm to a new owner. Robyn explains her previous deal with Kurt, but the new owner says Kurt mentioned nothing about it and refuses to help. While speaking with him, Robyn notices the new owner struggling to control a camel. Despite his lack of knowledge about camels, he insists on managing the farm himself. Robyn helps the new owner control the camel and explains her situation. Grateful, the new owner gives her 2 camels. By this time, her female camel has given birth. Now ready to begin her journey, Robyn writes a letter to National Geographic about her expedition. The year is 1977, and 2 years have passed since she arrived. The elderly farm owner, who had earlier given her a female camel, warns her, "If you ever see a male camel charging at you, shoot it without hesitation or it will kill you." He hands her a pistol for protection. Robyn's father and sister visit her before her journey. Her sister opposes the trip, but her father, who had completed a similar journey before, encourages her. Meanwhile, National Geographic responds positively, agreeing to sponsor her journey. However, they request that their photographer visit her at various stops to capture photos of her expedition. Coincidentally, the photographer assigned is her friend, the one who advised her to seek sponsorship. Soon, he arrives with supplies for her journey. Robyn loads her 3 adult camels and the baby camel with supplies. Along with her loyal dog, she bids farewell to the elderly farm owner and her family before setting off. The journey is incredibly challenging, but Robyn perseveres. Whenever she reaches a small village or town, she camps there. Each time, her photographer friend meets her to take pictures, as he knows her planned route. News of her daring 2,700 kilometers journey begins to spread in newspapers, drawing public attention. For 29 continuous days, Robyn keeps walking until she reaches a place called Olga Park, where she plans to continue her journey. Robyn finds a shortcut through Olga Park but isn't granted permission to pass. Instead, she sets up camp outside the park. Once again, the photographer arrives to take her pictures, which Robyn dislikes. However, she must comply because of her contract with National Geographic. The next morning, Robyn resumes her journey, forced to take a longer route. After walking for several days, the photographer meets her again. While they're together, a storm strikes. Instead of helping, the photographer captures photos of Robyn's struggle. Robyn continues her journey the next day. After walking for 61 days, she faces difficulty finding water. Occasionally, she stumbles upon small water sources where she and her camels drink before continuing. Exhausted, Robyn eventually sleeps in the wilderness. One morning, she wakes to find her camels missing. Panicked, she realizes their disappearance could mean her death, as all her supplies are with them. Fortunately, she locates her camels soon after. Frustrated by her long, grueling journey, Robyn loses her temper and vents her anger on her camels. Eventually, she reaches a native settlement where she decides to rest for 2 days. The photographer arrives with a companion, happy to see her. The native people inform Robyn that her path ahead crosses a tribal territory. This tribe forbids women from entering, believing it would desecrate their land. However, if Robyn is accompanied by a native guide, they may allow her to pass. While the tribe performs a ritual, the photographer secretly takes photos, which deeply offends the locals. The tribe dislikes Robyn, so they refuse to help her. Now, she must take a much longer and more dangerous route, one no one has ever survived. Despite the risk, she continues her journey. Both Robyn and her camels are exhausted. One day, while resting, she sees 3 wild male camels running toward her. Remembering the old owner's warning, she grabs her gun and reluctantly shoots 2 of them to save her life, feeling deeply saddened afterward. Robyn eventually reaches a river with little water. As she and her camels drink, 4 men approach, 3 locals and 1 Australian. Robyn shares her plan to cross 2,700 kilometers to reach the Indian Ocean. The Australian warns that her chosen path is too long and suggests a shorter route. Robyn explains that the native tribe won't let a female pass through their sacred land. The Australian offers to help by sending a local man who speaks some English to accompany her. With the guide, Robyn chooses the shorter path. After many kilometers, they meet a traveler. Robyn hands him a letter asking him to deliver it to National Geographic, explaining her supplies are running low. The traveler agrees. The guide tells Robyn his journey ends here since he's crossed the tribal area. Robyn asks him to continue with her, but he refuses, saying his shoes are worn out. Robyn borrows shoes from the traveler, and they continue with their camels and dogs. For 20 more days, they walk non-stop. During this time, the guide hunts a kangaroo. When Robyn tries to cut the meat, the guide stops her, explaining that their customs forbid women from butchering animals. Eventually, they reach a small town where the photographer is waiting. The traveler had delivered Robyn's letter with instructions to meet here. The path ahead is even more dangerous, with no reliable water sources, increasing the risk of death from dehydration. The guide tells Robyn that his journey ends here, and he must return home. The photographer tells Robyn he'll try to arrange water supplies along her journey. Robyn continues walking for days with her camels and dog. Exhausted, her mind starts to falter. She begins hallucinating. She loses her compass, but eventually finds it and regains her direction. After several days, she reaches a house where an old woman invites her in. At first, Robyn thinks she's hallucinating again, but this time it's real. The woman offers her food, water, and a place to bathe, her first proper rest in weeks. Robyn resumes her journey, but tragedy strikes when her thirsty dog accidentally drinks poisoned water and dies. Heartbroken and mentally drained, Robyn questions whether she can finish her journey. Despite her grief and exhaustion, she keeps going. One day, while resting, a group of journalists appears. By now, her incredible journey is widely known. Overwhelmed and mentally unstable, Robyn avoids interviews and photographers. She informs her photographer friend, who works for National Geographic, where her journey will end. After walking endlessly, Robyn finally reaches the Indian Ocean, completing her 2,700 kilometers trek. Her photographer friend arrives, and Robyn dives into the ocean, a powerful moment symbolizing her triumph. The story ends with Robyn having achieved what no one else ever had, completing an extraordinary journey that tested her body and mind.